Following on from Ridley Scott's Alien came James Cameron's follow-up Aliens, which is a blockbuster extravaganza. It's one of the finest action adventures ever committed to screen, and in short, it's a classic of the genre in which it inhabits. However, personally, for me, that genre, well, it's not horror, and for me, that's what I liked about the first film. I'm a horror fan. I liked the horror in Alien. And James Cameron very much turned it into a more of a popcorn munching flick. Uh, and I'd say that I'm able to back that claim up by the evidence of Ripley and her character arc throughout the movie of Aliens. She overcomes the loss of her daughter, which by rescuing Newt, and that's at least a part of the special edition. But she overcomes her daughter by the loss of her daughter by rescuing Newt. She overcomes her fear of the xenomorph, held after the events of the first film, by literally blowing her demon out of an airlock. Um, and the ending and the conclusion to Aliens is in no way true to real life, which the first film Alien seemed like it was. It's pure happily ever after fantasy, and it's a damn good one at that. If that's what you're into, it's, I'd say, the best of the best. It's a great film as an action adventure, but I'm a fan of straight up horror, and as such, it's not, I'd say, a surprise that I'm not as fanatical about Aliens anywhere even coming close to the same degree as I am with the original. Uh, I also feel that I need to point out my personal dislike for the direction in which James Cameron James Cameron James Cameron goes well with toast. James Cameron took the creature in the direction he took the creature in. In Ridley Scott's film, the alien acted in a really strange and no other way to put it, alien manner. It moved slowly and it toyed with its victims, much like a cat toying with a moth, before moving in for the kill. Whereas, Cameron, he essentially turned the original Lovecraftian Star Beast, the nightmare of the original, into, essentially overgrown bugs who just rush at their victims or their enemies without any kind of graceful movement, or aside from them cutting off the power, seeming intelligence. Uh, Another issue I take, again, just personally with Aliens, is the inevitable decrease in the horror of this creature, seeming that we're just seeing Marines blast them away with guns. It almost seemed in the original that it could have been this invincible creature, and that's certainly not something that carried over to the sequel. But I seem like I'm being overly negative. I don't mean to be. Like I said, it's one of the greatest action adventure films of all time. Not doubting that for a second. It's a film I've watched many a times. I grew up watching, and I'll continue to watch. Uh, but it's really not the spiritual successor to the original Alien. For that, you'd have to go towards Alien 3. But let's at least round off some positives in my view of the sequel. Visually, it looks great, and I'm not as big a fan of Cameron's general directorial style as I am Ridley Scott's, but still, I have a little bit of a soft spot for his blue steel look that he gives his films, and yeah, Alien's no exception. It looks good. Special effects are phenomenal. The Alien Queen is a really nice addition and pulled off brilliantly. And Alien Queen, interestingly, was actually designed by James Cameron, so have him to thank for that contribution. It's all just a brilliant action adventure, but like I said, I'm primarily a fan of horror, and for that reason, I'm going to give this film, Aliens, two separate ratings. The first I'm giving for a rating of a movie upon its own merits, as just its own thing, as an action adventure, and for that it's getting the full-on 5 screaming newts out of 5. But then separately I'm going to be reviewing it as a follow-up to the original Alien. And I just, like I said, I just thought it took it in an action direction, and I don't think that was particularly true to the Lovecraftian nature of the original. For that reason, and that reason only, I'm going to give it as a follow-up to Alien 3 exploding aliens out of 5. Next up, Alien 3.